Well, hello everybody. This is Louise Eddington. I am the Cosmic Owl with Cosmic Owl Astrology, and this is a special Earth Day broadcast. And there's so much to say about this Earth Day that I'm going to give you a little overview by sharing my screen. So this Earth Day is the 50th Earth Day. 50th anniversary, and our Earth Day happens to be having a Chiron return, or beginning it at least. And it's also on a new moon, and it's on a new moon conjunct Uranus, and the new moon is at 3 degrees and 24 minutes of Taurus, which is Venus ruled. Uranus is exactly to the minute 3 degrees away at 6 degrees and 24 minutes of Taurus. So we have 3, we have 6, we have 6, 6, 6. And we have Venus that rules the lunation and also represents matter, the earth. So we have the cross of matter and the circle of spirit for Venus, because it connects both as rulership of Taurus and Libra. And that is at 15 degrees of Gemini, another 6. Then we also have the other Venus ruled sign is Libra, and we have a 9 over here with Juno, the sacred devotion, sacred marriage to all that is in the sign of Libra. So we have all this kind of stuff going on in Venusian signs. We also have Pluto at 6 degrees as well, and he happens to be stationing retrograde in 3 days' time. So we have 3, 6, 9 all over this chart, and Venus and Earth and awakenings all over this chart, and it's Earth Day on the new moon. So I just want to bring in a different chart here. Oh, bear with me. So I want to edit this chart to take it to 1970. All right, 1970. Okay, this is the first Earth Day, and Chiron was at 7 degrees and 48 minutes, so less than a minute away from where Chiron is now. And that means that Earth Day itself is having a Chiron return on a new moon that activates what's called the 369 code, and I'm going to talk more about that in a second. But a Chiron return is something we all have around age 50, 51. It always happens around age 50, those ages, and it means 49 to 51. It's a planetary return that we get a really obvious confrontation with lessons and issues from the themes of that planet. And the first Earth Day was started when Chiron was in Aries, and here we are again. Chiron has moved all the way around the zodiac and is back to that. And this is meaning that we are kind of having that whole healing of what we can do to save the earth, in my opinion. In Aries, it means what I, as an individual, can do to take action to save the earth. And here we are in the middle of a pandemic where the earth is actually kind of, for the first time, recovering. Our air is clearing, our waterways are clearing. It's all, having great effects on planet Earth, even if it's not on the people that live on it altogether. Now, many are recovering. Of course, the deaths are tragic, but and I don't mean to minimize them at all. But we're having this big lesson. Arundit Roy, she talks about it too. She calls it a portal. I think it's a portal. I think this Earth Day is a real portal. I think the fact it's starting the Chiron return As you can see, it has a little way to go. We'll look at that in a minute. It's only exact in a couple of weeks. In this lunation cycle, we have a moon, new moon cycle starting this evening. That is conjunct Uranus, which is the great awakener and shock, and also represents innovation and invention. We have Venus stationing to go retrograde over here at 15 Gemini, very close to the midpoint of her retrograde, where she will be looking at things differently. Our values, everything is changing. And then we have Juno over here, who's been carrying this whole chart. Let's just go back to this one chart. If we see, we have the lunar nodes here at 0, Cancer and Capricorn, about to shift back into Gemini and Sagittarius, as the nodes always move backwards. That's on May the 5th. And we're also have many planets going back retrograde soon. We have Pluto stationing in 3 days' time, as I said, on the 25th. Then May the 5th, we have the lunar nodes shifting until January the 18th, 2022, which is when the USA has its Pluto return, incidentally. And we also have, in this next lunation cycle, that's new moon to the next new moon, we have Saturn stationing retrograde on May the 11th, Venus herself stationing retrograde on May the 13th, and this makes this Venus retrograde really crucial, because Venus is our higher incarnation of our Earth and ourselves. So check out my Venus class. I'm going to leave a link in the YouTube below. And then we'll have Jupiter stationing retrograde on May the 15th also. So we're being pulled within and we're being pulled back. Now, it's kind of interesting because Venus goes retrograde for 40 days and 40 nights, which is the word quarantine comes from that, from 40. And the official quarantine in the US started on May the 23rd. And it's officially going to start opening up on May the 1st. I kind of think we're going to have to backtrack on that quite quickly. So if you're listening to this and if you trust astrology at all, and I have heard other astrologers say this, particularly Adam Gainsberg, I had a feeling that this is not done. We think we're done, but we're not. And we'll start opening up and really quickly have to backtrack on that as all these planets turn retrograde towards the middle of May. Then we do have a Mercury retrograde on June the 18th, an eclipse season begins. And on June the 14th, we have the second of 5 exact Pluto-Eris squares. So I don't think this is done. I don't think we're going anywhere. So if you trust the astrology at all, and I do, I would be staying in as much personal quarantine as you can. You know, continue your social distancing, wear your mask, use your sanitizers, whatever you're doing. Stay away from people. Don't loosen up and think, oh, that restaurant's open, I can go for dinner. I won't be going for dinner. I'm going to continue the way I am for the time being. So I would consider it for yourself. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that. You know, this deep healing of the earth is beginning to get back to um, 1970. I just want to show you when this Chiron return, we started it, it's happening now. So to get back to where the Chirons are, okay, so now we have 2020 on the outside and the original Earth Day on the inside, okay. And interestingly, Ceres, who is the Great Mother, she was close to, well, she was 3 degrees away from Chiron on the first Earth Day. and she's entering the shadow of her retrograde zone as well. So we'll look at that too. It's just quite amazing. So I'm just going to flash forward a bit to, okay, you see we are 3 days away from the exact Chiron return on this new moon. That's going to trigger this massive potential. I call it potential for healing. We can choose to ignore all this. We can go out, we can start driving our cars everywhere and polluting and mass consumption again and all that kind of thing. Or we can learn what we're meant to be learning, which is going down to our core values. I've been talking about it for months, and to what has real meaning for us, and simplifying our life to what has real meaning for us. Okay. So there's the Chiron, and then I said, sorry, I want to look when Ceres goes retrograde. I think I've typed it wrong on my list. So Ceres is here, no, a bit after that. So Ceres, I'm going to quickly go forward just to show you another retrograde coming up as well. Ceres is also going to go retrograde on, must be July the 18th. Oh, no, a bit before that. July. Ignore that. I'll come back to that another time. But basically, we do have, oh, let's get one chart. That was confusing. Okay, it goes retrograde on July the 7th. So we have another one coming up. And why have I put that? Okay, and that is at the exact same degree that Mercury was retrograde at in February, on February the 17th. So we have all these cycles really affecting each other and impacting each other. I think we're going to, this virus is nothing like we've seen before. I don't think we're getting a break over the summer in the way that people think we're going to. There's various other triggers for it as well. The fact that Jupiter is making its second conjunction with Pluto early in July as well, and that will cause an increase as well. And then we're on June the 14th, we have the second of 5 Pluto Eris squares causing more chaos. And then the Venus retrograde, of course, right in the middle, really kind of asking us to go within and looking at our values. Okay. And Venus stations retrograde on May the 13th, square to Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, sorry, really asking us to let go of a lot of stuff as well. So that's a kind of a report I wanted to give you for Earth Day. I kind of think this new moon and this Earth Day and this week, and with all these numbers of 369, are really major. 369, of course, was the code that Tesla talked about. And I just want to. So Tesla talked of the 369 code being the key to the universe. If you said you could understand it, then you would have the key to the universe. It was all connected with him doing these experiments with vibration that actually caused earthquakes. Not kidding. He was a genius, which is that Uranus energy that's near the new moon. He was a complete universe genius, I mean, and was discovered so many things, but he was kind of thought of as dangerous because of causing earthquakes and things like that. But I find it interesting that he said if you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. And Chiron is the key shape. Chiron is the key to healing. Okay. So we've got all this stuff piling up, all these synchronicities, all these patterns, all these symbols, all these actions. We have Juno over here, to go back to now. She's been on her own on this side of the lunar nodes for so long. She's holding the whole planet in a basket. And Juno was the queen of the gods at one point. She was married to Jupiter. And therefore she was very powerful. She's been lost in time, as many of the goddesses are, but here she is. Rights of women, rights of children, rights of the poor, rights of all the oppressed she fought for. She is associated with Libra to bring balance and harmony and peace. Now, I don't think these things are just going to happen overnight, and I think they are an opportunity for us to step into this. Okay, so I want to show you that apart from the moon, there we go. Apart from the moon, she's on her own on this side of the nodes until the end of May. So she's kind of holding all this in the palm of her hands. I'm going to get the exact date. The palm of her hands until May the 27th. So I've got so much coming up, so much healing potential. Like, you know, plant your garden, start your compost heap. Try to get your company to let you work from home. Find a job that's nearer to home, maybe. I don't know, you know, there's all kinds of things you can do. We have to stop polluting. We have to save the earth. And this is an opportunity here. So I hope you'll check my Venus class out. The link again is below. It's going to be tremendous, and it's a big part of all this. You know, it's a journey within. It's our personal self. It's our higher self. The Venus is the higher incarnation of the Earth. So all that is resonating, and it is the ruler of today's new moon in Taurus. So it's kind of huge. Oh, now we have another little earthquake notification. The earth rumbling. We've had some in LA. We keep having some here. We've been having them for quite a while, but we've had quite a few today, little rumbles here and there. Not big ones, but there could be other earthquakes too. Everything's being shaken up. And this is the 50th anniversary of our Earth Day. The Chiron return is often personally a time when we kind of go through a major healing crisis, crossroads in our lives, and kind of emerge into our 50s, kind of emotionally healthier and whatever. We can do the same with Earth and Earth Day. So hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe, and please check that little bell to get notified when I upload more videos. And have a wonderful Earth Day.